If you're building or remodeling, you could probably use a vacation by now because your nerves, your stress level, believe me, I understand. I recently got back from a vacation, and there's a lot that we can take from resort living and apply to our house to make it have that vacation kind of feel. From the minute you drive up to a hotel, if they've done it right, it changes the way you feel physically. They do things to manipulate your senses so that you get that feeling of transformation. Walt Disney was an expert at this. He manipulated the space in order to make us feel certain ways, in order to make us see certain things, in order to make us walk in a particular direction. So a well-designed resort is going to transform you when you get there. Every square inch of a resort is designed to influence your behavior, usually to get you to spend more money, but to influence your behavior, to get you to go to their restaurants, to get you to go to the pool, to encourage you to spend money in the casino. Now, while I've worked on commercial spaces in my career as an interior designer, mostly I've concentrated on residential design. But there are a lot of principles in hotel design and in resort design that we can take with us to residential, to our home, and to make it more inviting, more welcoming, more transformative. So let's take a look at the way hotels and resorts manipulate us to make us feel a certain way, to change human behavior, to influence the way we move through spaces. And we can apply that to our homes to create that resort-like feeling at home. When I design a home, I'm thinking about one family, one set of needs, one location. That's it. When you design a hotel, you have to think about thousands of people and different needs and different expectations and different desires for when they get there. Residential design focuses more on the family's needs. How do they live? What do they store? What are their habits and their routines? Whereas a hotel is thinking about how to influence your behavior, how to get you to move through the space efficiently, how to get you to spend more money in the casino. With hotel design, you're thinking more about manipulating our experience in a good way, hopefully, to enhance the way we feel with smells, with sights and sounds, with the feeling of space and volume. So hotel design asks, how do we move people through the space? How do we avoid congestion? How do we direct traffic? And how do we encourage people to spend money and to find the attractions of the resort? But ultimately, they're looking at human behavior and how we want to feel in the space. One of the things that a hotel does really well is to create an arrival experience, because when you arrive and when you leave, those are the two most important memories for your vacation. If you have a bad experience checking in or arriving and you don't have a good one leaving, you're not going to have a good memory of that trip. So hotels focus a lot of their attention on the arrival and departure of guests so that they have a good experience. So lobbies are huge. They have lots to look at, art. They have places to wait, places to sit, places to put your luggage. The lobby isn't just a room. It's an emotional transition. It is meant to take you from the chaos of your regular life and transform you into the calm vacation person. So they're going to bombard you with sights and space and things to look at and smells. I mean, if you've been in a hotel lately, you can buy their candles, you can buy their scents. It's pumped through the vents. They want to hit all of our senses. They want to delight and surprise and wow you when you get there. And we should think about that when people arrive at our house. We talk about curb appeal, but when you open your front door, Amazon boxes, bunch of shoes, keys, packages, it can be a mess. We want to make our entry kind of like an entry to a luxury hotel. We want it to smell good. We want to have a place to put stuff down. We want to have room to put our shoes on, to put our bags somewhere. Take the cues from the hotel. Give yourself some space. Foyers in our house are a transition zone, just like the lobby of a hotel. So we want to give it all of those opportunities to make it welcoming. Whatever it takes to incorporate hitting all of our senses to delight and surprise us at the front door. In a hotel, every public space, every inch costs money, so it has a job. There are no random rooms. We don't use that room. Every space has to do a job. The lobby isn't just a lobby. It serves a lot of purposes. So you're checking in, you're checking out, you're waiting for everybody to get dressed and come down for the taxis. you're meeting people for dinner, you're watching the parade go by. Every square inch has got to work. It's got to have a purpose. It's got to do something. So we want to take our cues from a hotel and make spaces that we're going to use, and make spaces in our home that are going to do double duty. So an office could be a guest suite. A pantry could be a place to hide Christmas presents. A garage could be a workout space. Square footage is expensive, so we want to make sure that we're using every inch of it. In residential design, we often create spaces that do us no good. Formal dining rooms, formal living rooms. If you're not using them, wouldn't you rather have a bigger den, a bigger great room? If you're going to use it, all the best to you. But if you've got an eat-in kitchen, an island, and a dining room all in a row, one of those spaces is probably not going to get used, and probably would have been better suited to give more space to the kids' bedroom, your closet, whatever. So we want our spaces to be used. We don't have to put a formal living room in just because we need to have a formal living room because some realtor told you so. It's your house. Do what you want. Make sure that you're using every inch of it. So the lesson is, before you design any space in your home, think about how you're going to use it. Think about how often you're going to use it, and think about the amount of space that you have to allocate to that. When you go to a hotel, there's tons of seating areas. There isn't just one big space where everyone goes. There's a little intimate corner over here, a little secret pool for adults over there, a secret hot tub over in this space here, paths to a private beach, paths to the public beach. There are lots of different options for all the different people there and all the things they might want to do. And when we design our spaces, we need to think about that as well. So throwing up one big great room doesn't really help the family out as far as what they want to do in that space. So are we watching movies? Are we reading? Are we doing projects on the table? Are we playing with toys? Are we building a tent? If you give defined zones within that great room, we'll be better able to figure out what we're supposed to do there and enjoy it more. People want choices within one big giant space. So within the casino, there were thousands of slot machines, big ones, small ones, big old pull the arm ones, push the button ones. People want choices. So if you give them lots of different options, you'll make everybody happy. So in your great room, you can create conversation zones. Here's where we're going to cuddle up and watch TV. Over here is where I'm going to read privately by myself. Over here is where we might have conversation with guests. When you lay it out and you give yourself different areas to do whatever you might want to do in your great room, people know where to go better. They feel more comfortable. They use the space more often. Hotels understand better than almost any other, except maybe restaurants, about the power of lighting. They understand it so much that it is a line item in their budget. It is one of the first line items in a hotel budget because it can change everything. We don't need to change the architecture. We don't need to change the colors. If we change the temperatures, if we change where the lights are coming from, we can change the atmosphere in a hotel. So hotels pay a tremendous amount of attention to how lighting works, how it directs people, how it changes throughout the day. So we need to do that in our home too. And if you really look closely when you're in a space in a hotel, you're going to see more lights than you ever thought possible in one space without feeling overwhelmed. Tiny little monopoints, chandeliers, sconces over here, hidden LED lights. They're hitting you with multiple layers of lighting so that they have options. So you should do the same in your house. Have you ever seen a 25-year-old on vacation with their first convertible rental car? It's not pretty. I wouldn't want to own that car after they've done their damage. And a hotel has to think about that in the same way. Hotels choose material that survive vacationers. Thousands of people, sun, sand, water damage, the abuse of travelers who have no regard for a space that is not their own. You know what I'm talking about. The question isn't, is it pretty? It's, will it be pretty in 5 years? So homeowners need to think about the same kind of wear and tear on what you're going to put in your home. So your countertops, your flooring, hardware, anything you touch, anything that's going to take wear and tear, slamming doors, cabinetry. We want to make sure that it's beautiful, but we want it to be beautiful for years to come. So it's got to be a material that's going to hold up to the kind of wear and tear that your family is going to put on it. This hotel was in a beautiful location in the Bahamas, so enjoying the outdoors was of utmost importance there. But we need to learn from that as well, because we don't want to waste our outdoor space. If you have a porch, if you have a deck, if you have a yard, we want to make use of those outdoor spaces to give ourselves more rooms, more outdoor spaces to enjoy our home from a different location. So when you're designing your outdoor rooms, you want to think about what you want to do out there. Where's the best view or destination in your yard? What's the quiet spot? What's the sunny spot? And set it up so that it makes it a place you want to go to, a destination you want to enjoy in your own yard. Sort of like your own private vacation. I hope these tips helped. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.